Here.
John?
Here.
Sarah?
Here.
Travis and Stephanie excused. Pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I need a motion for the consent agenda.
So moved.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public input, this is time and place for discussion items not already on the agenda with a time limit of 3 minutes apiece. You guys want to talk about anything? Discussion possible action in reference to street closures on Labor Day, September 6, 2021, South Washington for Southeast Linn Open House and North Washington for Fire Department Pancake Breakfast.
So as for the fire department goes, this will be Labor Day, traditional, same as always, we close from Market down to Main on Washington. I was approached by Southeast Linn. They want to do an open house that runs in conjunction, so the thought is people can, before or after they eat, will come by the open house at Southeast Linn. So they would like to close from South Street to Main Street on Washington that same day.
This is their 35th anniversary. I'll move to approve.
Motion to a
I
second.
second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Discussion possible action on equal opportunity policy.
So this is the policy that needs approved for the CDBG housing grant. So just need a motion and
I make a motion to approve.
A motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion possible action on pay estimates number 1 to Brecke for the amount of $35,243.10 for business 30 storm improvements. So what they did out there on Highway 30, not over by, not in front of school, but close to it.
yes. So there's one final payment, $1,500 and change, I believe, for the retention, which will be about 30 days. Yes.
I make a motion to pay.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion possible action on high water usage ordinance.
So this was asked to be put on at the last meeting. As you can see in the ordinance, based on mechanical malfunction failures, which includes cracked water lines, internal excessive spalling corrosion, extreme environmental conditions, water line breaks, water heaters, so forth, toilets failures. We can give a 25% reduction in water and sewer debt. That is what we based, obviously, the next discussion item on. I know there were some feelings from some council members, they wanted to take it case by case or based on the circumstance. I did reach out to the attorney, reference the next steps on the next line item, and he just recommended that to try to do what he can do to keep it at a percentage would be better than case by case, so that way everyone's consistent with it, but.
For this one, it says any reduction shall be limited to 3 monthly billing periods. Do we always do that, or do we let them space it out?
Well, that's for sod,
Oh, that's for sod.
yes.
Oh,
Otherwise, any other ones that have it, we do work with them, they'll have up to a year to
Okay.
pay that if it's large enough. So if they're willing to work with us, we're willing to work with them.
And we can waive the sewer, right, as long as it don't go down sewer? Right.
If you gotta be able to prove,
I mean, if it's a water leak outside.
Yeah, I gotta go see it. I'm at the trailer park with one of the lines where the meter is underneath the trailer, and the water runs that way. If it breaks, you can see it's on the ground in the winter. So,
Yeah, I think the only thing we could do is change the ordinance, but I think there should be a penalty. For the 25% forgiveness is the right amount, I don't know. But people gotta be responsible. And I think a lot of times people know they got, well, maybe that sticks once in a while. They need to either be watching that or get it fixed.
Well, I know I mentioned last time that I've had front desk staff call whenever somebody has a high reading, just to make sure that they're in the know of what's going on. It's probably 75% of the time, they're like, yeah, it's this. 25% of the time, they're like, oh, thanks for calling, I didn't know that. So we're trying to get ahead of it, so we don't have these types of situations. And as I said before, if a person passes away and there's no one else at that residence, we're trying to get the name, either stop the service or get the name into another family member's who's going to be responsible for it. So we're trying to do some things on our part too to help head this off. But I don't know what the number is. I don't even know when this was created, that it's 25, but you know, it's kind of, the only problem is you know, when you catch it, it's already done. You know, so you're not catching it in the front, you're catching it in the end, which is unfortunate.
On an average, how many of these do you have here, Charlie?
Less than 5.
Yeah, I would say a handful.
Yeah.
And, I mean, out of those 5, how many of them say, you know, if you say, you know, you got a year, we can set it up so, you know, you pay an extra $10 a month or whatever.
They're all, once they
Yeah,
figure you
usually all
got
of
a
them.
year, they're like, oh,
Yep.
perfect.
I think this one here is the 5th since so the 5th in 8 months. But some people, you know, the concern was, like Stephanie's concern was the elderly person who's on a fixed income. You know, they budget a certain amount and that's all they had, but, it's up to you guys what you wanna. So what I did is I put it on here for discussion tonight. If you wanna change it, then we can start the process of the 3 readings and figure out what you guys wanna do.
Do you guys want to discuss it further? Bring with full council?
I mean, it's pretty cut and dry. I think a number is probably the right way to go. I know everybody has their own budget and so forth, but if we're going to the point where we're contacting them when they have a high reading, or, you know, making sure that they're getting names put in other people's names if it's a deceased issue or whatever, I think I'm okay the way it reads, as long as we're doing our due diligence. You know, I think if we're doing that part, we're meeting halfway with that.
Yeah,
Plus, we're taking care of 25% of it, so.
yeah, I think, I like the way this is, and I know that some citizens are gonna come in front of us with their specific situation and ask for more sometimes.
Right.
And we'll have the ability to do that. I like having a cut and dried system that we can probably fall back on at least 90% of that time. I know I got one of those calls about overusage, but I think it's just because my girls came home for COVID last year. You know, girls in showers.
Yeah, my kids are home.
So, yeah, that's why I went out,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think the 25%, in fact, I forgot about the 25% forgiveness, so that's actually kind of nice. I know Barnyard had a water issue recently, and his was like $900, I think. is what he-
Yeah, and it was different though, because we caught it with the reed.
Yeah.
And then when we went and helped him investigate it, because he couldn't figure out where the water was going,
Yeah.
found out it was the apartment and it was running outside, so.
Exactly. So he didn't go down the sewer. You
No.
were able to
Yes.
confirm that.
Yeah.
He
We
paid
waived
water.
the sewer, you paid the water and got this 25% discount.
And
So
he's doing a year contract.
Year
with us to
contract,
pay it.
right.
there you go. So I like what we're doing.
And he was okay with that.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think we're doing the right thing with what we've got.
And I can remember a case that we worked with last year, Raston,
Yeah.
that was very difficult, very upset. She was on a budget, and that was very bad when we did our due diligence. In fact, we even wrote letters for her insurance company to help her out, because she had no extra money anywhere.
Right.
So she not only got the contract, she also got extra help from us to try to find a different source to help pay for it. So we really do try.
So is there anything in this ordinance for when somebody is deceased that goes into somebody's name right away?
Yeah.
And you want that, right?
I think we just do it as a policy now.
Yeah.
Just in a policy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think we need to put it in the ordinance.
And we've had one so far, I believe, that, you know,
discuss this any further?
So Brandon, there's no changes here.
I think it dies here.
If, yeah, I just,
Are you okay with that?
I'd be no action, unless you wanna table it to the full council. to
Everybody
discuss.
wants to give a bigger break at 50%, but that'd be as high as I.
Keep in mind, you'll notice
I
in
think
here,
we
it's
can
still,
always, if they come to us with an odd situation, I mean, they could always come to us about it.
it still gives them the ability in this ordinance to come forward. just
Yeah,
like-
exactly.
Just like
Exactly.
this next one did, so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there are some other organizations that will help people out on a one-time basis.
Mhm.
Exactly.
And, but that's usually people that have proven to be low income.
Sure.
And just get by. So, we're not- unless somebody wants to change the percentage, I'm good with going with what we have.
You don't want to change it?
Not unless you wanted to go to 50%, that'd be about my limit as far as sharing the burden. The actual cost to the city, as I understand it, would be not that much. I mean, if you've got the electric to pump the water, you've got chlorinating the water, you've got, I don't know if it costs that much more to run more water through the sewer plant.
But you're also looking at,
But we got infrastructure costs.
Yeah.
you got infrastructure,
That's your big-
you got wages, you got insurance, I mean, everything.
Right.
So I don't think we're gonna move around and further with it, we'll just keep it
Yeah.
as it is.
I'm good with 25%.
Okay.
Discussion and possible action concerning utility bill for 114 West Lincoln Avenue B, Unit B.
So this is a follow-up from the last discussion. I reached out to Mr. Pike, references letter, gave him our decision, your decision. He said his final payment was a minimum payment, he wasn't paying anything more. He sent that in. The residence has been sold, and it's actually switched on the assessor's side already. So as discussed last time, if we want to recoup any of it, we would have to go to the estate, essentially small claims through the estate, and go that route. I did confirm that with our attorney.
Is the estate still open then as
Yes.
opposed? Okay.
How much was it?
821.56 would be the remaining after the discount.
You guys wanna do it? Wanna go after it?
I don't know, it sets us up for,
Wanna go for a lesson, run a lesson, or?
well, he's already said his final payment has already
I
been
think
paid.
we can send, put the attorney down, and just put it to the state.
You know, I know Christina's reaching out on the process of that. Mark said that he would be willing to help us, but when you do that, are you gonna pay $500?
That's just it, when we get
Yeah,
the attorney
$800
involved,
bill
we're-
to
and
have
his
that.
prices have gone up too.
I just don't know if that's, you know, I think, you know, with the policy now that's in place, this shouldn't be an issue going forward, as long as we catch it right away.
Yeah, this is just a timing issue, is why we missed.
Well, and the fact that, you know, this never got transferred, but they wanted the water on. So we've always just kept the water on a residence, and if the spouse was also deceased, it just stayed in that person's name, and whoever was getting the mail just continued to pay the bill.
Yeah.
So,
What you guys wanna do, lesson learned? Go after him?
I think this is kind of a one-off. And if we get it in somebody else that's controlling the estate's name to be responsible, how would we handle it if the person just moves on us and had a big water bill like this, just their last month?
It would be,
And sold the house?
You
Well,
put
they
it
may be.
We pay the lien.
yeah, we would put it through the offset using their social security number, but unfortunately, Ms. Pike owned it for so long that they weren't getting the social security numbers back then, so we never had hers.
Yeah.
But if it's a renter, you put a lien on, you go after the renter, but you just put a lien on
But ultimately, it's the landlord.
then it's gotta go to the landlord and the renter.
Yeah.
But this is only, at least what I've come across, It's only been an issue when someone passes away and there's no other spouse or anybody else there responsible.
Is there any way we can, like, if something like this would happen again, and they chose to have the water on, nobody's living there, that we could write up something that we are not responsible for any portion of the water bill if something should happen?
Well, that's what we're doing now, is we're making them, if somebody's telling us that they want the water left on, we're making them put it in their name then. And that's what we've done with this.
Yeah.
one.
Okay, so that's,
Something,
okay,
that's-
so that
that's
is
where
what
we're at.
we're,
Yeah,
To
your
make
choice
sure
is
that-
either to shut it off completely, or it needs to go into a responsible
In
person.
this case, if he was gonna take responsibility for it and wanted it left on, this bill would have been in Mr. Pike's name
Great.
gotcha,
and out of Mrs. Pike, his mother who passed.
yeah.
It sounds like we won't get anything back if we pursue the legal
It's
side.
gotta be a law.
I think it's lesson
So
learned.
lesson
I
learned.
think it's less than one.
Yeah, if you went to, what do they recommend, small claims court?
Small claims,
We're gonna
state.
spend $1,600 on that
To get
versus
$800 back.
to get $800, and it's
I
not.
think it's lesson learned, we carry out the procedure correctly.
Yeah,
And we continue with the newer policy and keep that as a new policy.
I think that's where we're at, that's my suggestion.
yeah,
If there's other something else I might be missing here, or ideas, just let me know that we could add to the policy going forward.
So,
Thank you for your
do you have any motion for that? Lesson learned.
It would be nice to
Yeah,
have it written off
probably
as a
would.
bad debt account.
Okay. Need a motion for lesson learned?
Motion that we write this off as a bad debt.
I second.
Motion and second, all in favor?
Aye.
John, did you say aye?
aye.
Public hearing for business 30 project bids. Open the public hearing at 7:17.
Motion to go to public hearing.
Yep, we need a motion.
Motion to go to public hearing.
Second.
Motion and second to go in public hearing 7:17. John,
Aye.
Sarah,
Aye.
Nate.
Aye.
I guess I can say a couple of things about it, just so everybody picture. This is for the repairs on Business 30, primarily in front of the school, and then the right turn lane is we're headed eastbound, approaching Washington Street. So there's a few other miscellaneous parts, but that's what it's for. And also the sidewalk right from Washington Business 30. So, required to have a public hearing as part of the formal bid process, which is what we're doing.
Thanks for representing the public. All right.
Need a motion to go to public hearing?
So moved.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Discussion of possible action on business 30 project bids. Hey, you want to talk?
All right, not really, but I will. Once again, we put a project up for bid, and prices are still coming in higher than anticipated, so we're forced with a decision tonight. We did receive 3 bids. Midwest Concrete was the low at $175,384. Eastern Iowa Excavating was very close to that at $176,516, and then Boomerang was at $187,738. So we have 3 bids that are pretty close together, which indicates that's the current price if we want to do the project. We were hoping for something closer to $115. Again, the prices are just higher per square yard on the concrete. If you look at the bids, there's a pretty wide range there that kind of bounce the prices between the pavement and the count. And the count is, since we have to mobilize and do a patch, and we have different places, we give them kind of a lump sum to get there and get it set up, and then we pay per yard for the concrete. So some of these are at 125 to 147. The low was 89 for the concrete. But then if you look down, something with the low and offset with the count, it's about 40,000 for the 7, whereas the other was at 1,750. So you can see they just kind of move the money around. Again, the options are we can award at this cost and proceed with the project to get patching done. Another option is to reject bids and take a look at trying to rebid later, hoping to get better prices. If we can get different bidders, we might get a lower price. If we keep the same bidders, it probably isn't very feasible, but we get lower numbers in the same project. with those bidders. So we do have a local contractor that was initially interested, and I think just due to timing, they decided not to proceed with the bid. So there's a potential that we can get that bidder interested. We could pull the sidewalk out, do that separate, and bid again this winter when people aren't busy, have a little more certainty with what the prices are going to be going into the spring, and also what the workload is. So those are the options. I think we've had a little bit of discussion with one of the local bidders, and maybe there's some interest there, but again, just a little bit higher than we had hoped for.
And I don't know if this will affect it at all. I know they're talking about passing that infrastructure bill. I don't know if we can get money for that to help something like this. You know, maybe some, I mean, even if we got, $100,000 or whatever,
We had a meeting today about it, and one concern that we have, well, first off, the overlay project will be the spring at the earliest, just based on everything now. Also, the concern is, once this passes, that there's gonna be a lot of work out there for a lot of people, and they could name their price, So that's a concern that, yeah, we could get funds, but in the scheme of things, it might be just trading dollars. So that's one concern, but I think if we have an opportunity, it's just my opinion, if we have an opportunity to save some money and see if we can either split these out to get some attractive local people to do it, and if it's cheaper, I say go for it, but that's just my 2 cents.
There's some risk with it, but there's also potential for saving some money.
So it's mainly the concrete price?
Yes, if you look at the concrete component of this, Sean, for example, on the first one, they're about $138,000. The low bidder is, just for the concrete, that's not anything else. They have a $15,000 mobilization. There's other costs in there, such as the construction survey was a little high on that one. You just start adding these small items up, and it adds up pretty quick to round out that number, but we're already 138 just with the concrete and low bidder, all the way up to 162 with boomerang just with the concrete.
Well, has the concrete gone up sharply? I haven't followed that, so.
I think everything's
Well,
fine.
lumber certainly has, it's out of sight, but has concrete also gone up?
It has gone up. I don't know that it's gone up that drastically, but certainly prices are increasing. They continue to increase, and particularly with the shortage of labor, it's just difficult to get people to do work.
what are you guys gonna do?
Certainly, if they're really busy, they're gonna keep the price up. They don't have to come down, but if they can concrete for work, it'll come down. And that's, I guess, anybody's guess.
I do like Brandon's idea. I would like to check out local. And just because if we have local contractors, that's money stays here.
Yeah,
Yeah, if we can split the project up.
And so if we could split the
maybe
project
some
up,
of it.
I think that would be,
yeah.
I'm always about buying local and doing business locally.
The mobilization should be less.
Exactly, yeah, for sure. Well, we
it's-
hope.
It's a roll of the dice.
yeah.
So do we wanna table this?
Yeah, I guess the only other thing is for how long can we?
I mean, we're not
this
gonna,
off?
yeah, I mean, we're not, like Brandon just said, we're not gonna, the earliest we'd ever pave anything is
Yeah.
spring.
Right.
So we have the ability to delay award of bid for 30 days. So if we want to wait till the next meeting, make a decision, we can do that.
No, that's what I thought, too. I guess that's what I'd like to do, and then if nothing changes, then we'll just have to make a decision.
I love that. I mean, you guys are both talking about potential for savings. That's encouraging, so I think we should try to take advantage of
Yeah.
it.
And if we can get somebody local, that's a plus too.
Absolutely.
One thing to think about too is some of the project is part of that is putting concrete underlayment on the eastbound 30 at Washington, because we're adding that turn lane.
Yeah.
So we could also pull that if we, because that's kind of an additional thing that I don't think that is as important as no lock turn lane would be. So we just added it because the was there to do it. So that's another thing to look at too, to save money.
That was a pretty substantial part of that concrete.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How long do you want to table it, just till the next meeting?
Till the next meeting.
I think to the next meeting.
We'll be running over that 30 days, won't we?
That's kind of, look and see how we would, if we could get money from the infrastructure bill here. They'll,
Yeah, I don't know, I was just not passed yet, but I would assume it's coming, I mean, it's gotta be close, so I don't know if they'll have the parameters out then, but as soon as I can find out, I will.
all right, I think actually you can probably like contact like Ashley Hinson's office and stuff like, our representatives and see how we do.
Okay.
Or even clerk net, I mean, you can get on the clerk net. All right, we're gonna table that till next bid.
Need a motion and a second to table it.
Make a motion to table that till the next meeting.
Second.
A motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Correspondence. See, there was a letter in here from
John
John Zahory.
Zahory,
Yeah, that was a reference to maintenance, doing some tree work on his property, and he appreciated that.
I want to thank the city crew that picked up and chipped wood on my property at the 7 North Jackson Street this month. They did an outstanding job with the brush from my parkway and alley, and I do appreciate it very much. Please convey my thanks to them.
Nice job.
Nice job. Travis, were you off then?
Those were our trees.
City engineer report.
You probably noticed that they've been out milling on Business 30, east of town, so they've got up to the bypass intersection out there. I would assume they're just going to continue to go on that until they get to when we get paved. They've got most of the milling done, way less miles out there today. The water main project, we've had the guys out starting to survey in anticipation of getting the last few income surveys done so we can get the CDBG scope finalized. They'll continue to work on that. They didn't want to get too far ahead of it in case things change drastically with the scope. We're pretty confident now, so we'll keep moving. I don't know if the parks are to a point where we get the well site finalized, but I know there's been some discussion, recently had a conversation with YGT, so I think we're getting closer on that. And DNR is yet to come out and do their inspection, so hopefully we'll get that here in the next couple of weeks. And that's really all I have for tonight.
Thanks, Dave.
Thanks, Dave.
Do you have any questions for Dave? Public Works Director report.
Nothing really, just we used that sprayer. Pretty much did the whole town minus curbs in 3 days. Normally 2.5 weeks with our old sprayer.
Paint sprayer.
And we're pretty sure that.
Yeah.
One more.
And the amount of paint too, we've cut our paint in half. So our normal budget that we normally budgeted for should cover us for when we do have to paint 30. So that shouldn't be that, it's pretty remarkable, the amount of paint we saved.
From not
Yeah.
spraying it into the air, or what?
Yeah, this is, I mean,
Not as heavy.
yeah, it's not as heavy, it's
You don't
more
have to put down as
consistent.
much of a coat.
Yeah, so,
More efficient.
yeah. So, yeah, so that all worked good. We're gonna get started on these stumps here, so if you guys, start hearing the phones ringing about why I just hold my yard, we're gonna try to leave the chips there till it's the seeding window again this fall, and then we'll come out and dig out the chips and then put dirt in and seed, so. That's all I got.
Any questions for him? Parks Director, Park and Rec Director.
Flag football and soccer registrations were finalized today. That will start the week of the 23rd of this month, and then my coaches' meeting's on the 18th. So information from coaches will be coming out here in the next week. My tractor came. I'm scheduling a time with one of the guys at P&K to come over and go over all that stuff with me. So I'll take care of that. And then we are doing a back-to-school night at City Park next Thursday from 6 to 7:30. We're just we're gonna have hot dogs and chips and stuff, and then a little goodie bag for the kids for back to school.
Nice. Questions for Drayden?
You plan on Halloween town, I don't know.
Yeah, we will start meeting for Halloween Town this month as well,
Okay.
towards the end of this month, so that'll be on for this year as long as everything goes good.
Yeah. Alright. Police department here, anything from Doug?
No.
Okay. Sorry, chief?
We did the bathtub races on Saturday as a part of Soundtrack Days, 4,000 water balloons. We made about $1,500, so it was a pretty good deal. Good weather for it, and looked like everybody had fun. Just a reminder again, pancake breakfast Labor Day, that's our next big thing on the horizon.
Any questions for Brandon, about fire department? City administrator report.
Income survey, we're under 20, so I'm hoping by the next meeting we'll have that knocked out. We met with the school, transferred the park back to us. Everything looked good there. Talked about some different things. Got some of that equipment that's been sitting there for a while, got that out of there. I did today receive quotes from the contractor reference the life safety on the barns, so that'll be on the next meeting to discuss. So we'll talk about that then. One thing we'll need to also discuss, I don't know if we need the next meeting, but in the not too distant future, is discussion on the park lights. We received the money from insurance, so just making sure we're wanting to proceed, replacing or fixing or however you guys want to do that. So it also kind of ties into that. I'm still waiting from YTT on the final number of what the first phase will be, along with I guess a pie in the sky estimate on the second phase, based on our meeting we had a couple weeks ago. And the last thing was, I think traditionally September, October, don't we have a joint school board meeting with the school? So, I'll work on dates and maybe have something at the next meeting for that.
Yep. Anybody got any questions for Brandon? Council report. Nate?
I don't really have anything. I wished I was at Sauerkraut Days, but I missed it this year, so I got nothing for that. I'm sure Gary did a great job. I don't know what, did everything go
Yeah.
along smoothly?
Yeah, all in all, it was a good weekend. I'll speak for Doug, we had one OWI arrest late on Saturday, early Sunday morning. But other than that, it was pretty uneventful, and the weather held off, so that crew does a really good job. So kudos to the Sauerkraut committee for pulling it off. Takes a lot of people.
John?
Thanks to everybody that worked on the Sauerkraut Days. It's a lot of hours put in on that. And I have noticed the chipping days are going better, and they do a really great job cleaning up and not being a mess. Kudos to them for that. Thank you.
Sarah?
Just thank you to the Public Works. They worked their rear off to get prepared for Sauerkraut Days, and kudos to the Sauerkraut Day Committee as well. They did a fantastic job. I know they had some short change this year as far as a few things that didn't go as they wanted, but for the most part, they did good. Travis and Drayton, they pulled off a really good tournament at the softball field for the Diamonds over there. So they brought in a lot of different teams this year, so that was good. A lot of different areas they came from. So yeah, that's all I got.
And I also want to thank all the city workers for the work they did on getting the town cleaned up. And also tomorrow is the 1 year anniversary of the Dre Show. And as a community and as a city, our town looks fabulous compared to some other towns still. I mean, we should be very proud of our city workers, people in our community. I mean, we're very, very lucky, and people should realize how lucky we are to have such good crews around. But again, Christina?
If anybody has anything for the newsletter, Marshall will be working on that, which will go at the end of this month. And next week we have our audit, so we'll be busy with that.
On the same note, tomorrow we are supposed to have severe weather. Just so you guys know, I thought I would throw that in there, so.
Meeting adjourned.